Friday, July 3rd. Let's break down what's happening in Korea's financial sector. We're pulling from today's AI Prism Finance Daily by SCD, along with some recent regulatory filings and energy reports.
Right, and our mission here is really to filter all this information specifically through the lens of compliance, for foreign financial institutions operating in Korea.
Exactly. Because the big theme you need to track right now is that the infrastructure of tomorrow is sort of violently colliding with the regulatory reality of today.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing massive capital being deployed way ahead of any actual rule books. Like, just look at the digital asset space right now.
Oh, right, the consortium news.
Exactly. So you have 13 major players, and we're talking heavyweights here, like Samsung Electronics and Shinhan Financial Group. They just joined the Open Standard Global Dollar Coin Consortium.
Wait, so they're actively building out cross-border settlement infrastructure, like right now?
Right now, well before Korean regulatory frameworks even exist to govern it.
That is wild. It's basically like they're paving this massive cross-country highway before the government has even drafted the speed limits.
Yeah, that's a perfect analogy, and they're essentially creating facts on the ground, which actually worked because that industry pressure is exactly what forced the Financial Services Commission to finally move.
Right, the FSC just committed to a, second half 2026 legislative timeline?
Yep, second half 2026 for the Digital Asset Basic Law, which will, finally establish the actual parameters for Korean won stablecoin provisions.
Wow. Okay, but building out that advanced digital highway requires, massive compute power.
Which brings us to the second big collision today, right?
Yeah.
The AI balance sheet shock.
Oh, absolutely. The power demands are staggering. Take KakaoBank, for example. In 2024, their data centers consumed, I think it was 26.97 million kilowatt hours.
Which is what, like 76% of their total electricity use?
Exactly, 76%. And they actually blew past their annual energy target by about 6 million kilowatt hours.
6 million, just from overshoot. Yeah, and that overshoot was driven entirely by their dedicated AI data center in Seoul. It represents a 2.6 times growth in power consumption in just 4 years.
That's huge. So does missing a target by 6 million kilowatt hours signal that ESG energy costs are, going to be the next major regulatory bottleneck for AI and banking?
I mean, financial stability authorities are definitely watching it because when you miss an ESG target by that kind of volume, it's no longer just some minor operational quirk, right? It becomes a very real, measurable balance sheet risk.
Which is so ironic, honestly. Because while banks are pouring all this electricity into futuristic AI, their traditional digital payment rollouts are, they're kind of stalling out.
Yeah, totally stalling due to physical hardware constraints. The Apple Pay expansion in Korea is a perfect example of this.
Right, because Shinhan Card and KakaoBank Card just scrapped their plans to launch this year, didn't they?
They did. The physical deployment economics just don't work for them right now.
Because deploying new NFC terminals is incredibly expensive in a market that's already dominated by QR codes. Plus, Apple charges that roughly 0.15% transaction fee, right?
Exactly, whereas Samsung Pay charges 0. So the margins just vanish, and that physical infrastructure barrier is creating a massive competitive moat for Hyundai Card.
Right, because they retain their exclusive position. Doesn't Hyundai Card have, a 27.5% market share in the overseas card sector now?
Yep, among dedicated Korean card companies, yes. And they just hit 1.7263 trillion, which is about 1.23 billion US dollars in overseas personal credit sales just through May. The hardware cost is basically keeping competitors locked out.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's tie this all together for you, the compliance officers listening. Earlier, we noted those 13 companies self-organizing in that global stablecoin consortium.
Right, the move that forced the FSC to commit to the second half 2026 timeline.
Exactly. So for your teams, this acceleration finally creates the first visible planning horizon for KRW stablecoin issuance and cross-border settlement. Specific obligations are still undefined, obviously, but you finally have a concrete, albeit soft, compliance window to prepare your operations.
Yeah, I mean, the regulatory fog is finally lifting. You know exactly when those speed limits are coming now.
Exactly. But I want to leave you with one final question to ponder over the weekend. If banks are already blowing past their energy targets by millions of kilowatt hours just from initial AI rollouts, how will they possibly power the massive cross-border digital asset infrastructure they're currently rushing to build?